Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, morning. Oh, I'm not muted. I'm not muted. Hello, good morning. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning. I'm sorry, I keep saying, well, good morning, California. Good evening, South Africa. Good afternoon, Midwest and East Coast and Central. Good morning, Esty. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna just talk to you guys a little bit while people start to join. I hope everybody had a great day. Yesterday was fantastic for me. I truly enjoyed it. I'm excited about um, the next several days. Our first first day jitters and technical difficulties are over. I was laughing because my tech person who is running the sound said I'm hood, but if nothing else, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. So I'm so happy to see you and get started on day 2 of the 7-day discipline challenge here in the Wisdom Fountain. Some of you may be new. Maybe you weren't here yesterday. You may have joined in the evening. It's okay. You are still on time. You are still in the right place. And I welcome you and I thank you for showing up. So, just to get things started a little bit while people are coming in, and for people who will watch this on recording, just a little housekeeping. Again, this is a 7-day wisdom challenge designed to help you get, 7-day discipline challenge. I said wisdom, see? 7 days of discipline designed to help you be able to incorporate better strategies to implement the discipline in your life that you're seeking. Many of us are at the end of the year. We have some things that have been lingering and hanging on all year long, and we've been struggling to get them done. And we came together as a group to be accountable to one another, to get things moving and get them processed. So I am Tiffany Rochelle. I am the creator and founder of the Wisdom Fountain. I am a leadership strategist and an accountability coach. I'm the best-selling author of Dear Leader and the creator of the Dear Leader Masterclass Intensive, which helps you as a leader get clear about who you are, who you serve, what's your legacy, and how you're impacting the world. This wisdom challenge was born out of my own personal need for discipline. As I was preparing for the end of this year, I said, hey, what do I need? And I got discipline. So for the whole month of December, I'm implementing discipline in small ways and big ways in order to complete the task that I have set aside, the behaviors that I'm looking to adjust or change. And I invited some friends along. So welcome, friends. Thank you for joining. So getting into today, yesterday was a foundational day where I really laid down the foundation of where we fall in terms of our discipline. Some of us are struggling with frustration, with overwhelm. And we talked about the things that are affecting our ability to be disciplined. Also, it gave you a personal gauge in order to kind of look at yourself and assess yourself, other than just have, I got a whole bunch of stuff to do lingering and hanging over your head. Yesterday was designed to give you a space to harness and write down, these are the things that I need to do. These are the things that I need to work on, and I want to complete by the end of the year. And the homework last night was to assess them. And the assessment was if the idea or the goal was still in your head. Like if you're just still thinking about it. If you started out the beginning of the year saying, hey, I need to build a website, and that's where the idea is still at, then that was still in your head. The second one was, what was the second one? I have it on the list. I'm sorry. So we had to choose if it was still in our head, figure out if it was unfinished. There we go. If it was something that you started, but for some reason you got challenged, you got distracted, you got stopped, so it's unfinished and it's just lingering and hanging over your head. Also, there were, if you just didn't know what to do with the goal, right? You don't know where it is. You picked it up, you put it down, you picked it up, you put it down again. It doesn't even look the same. So I gave you some keys to help you evaluate where your goals are so that as we move in today, we'll actually get real clarity on what you're going to do with those goals, what you're going to do with them. If you're going to finish them, if you're going to put them on the shelf forever, if you're going to delay them for a future time, that's what we're going to dive in today. So I'm really excited to continue building on that structure and giving strategies in that arena. So I have my notes here because I need them to stay on task because I personally have too many things on my mind, in my head. And so part of my discipline is to keep notes so that we can stay on task. How many of you, I know there's not a lot on yet, but if you actually did the homework last night, were you able to see a clearer picture of what you have in front of you, a clearer picture of what it is that you need to look at versus just having everything looming and feeling like, hey, I just got a lot to do? I hope that you were able to. If you were able to, you can put a 1. If not, like I said, I know there's not a lot of people in here right now. When you come in later, just kind of signify if it helped you get a little more clarity on what it is that you have in front of you. Good. One of the things that I brought out yesterday was that procrastination. We talked about procrastination, that it's a sign of creativity. Frustration and overwhelm are also signs of interference with your creativity. So we really gave ourselves a soft spot to land so that it's not about beating ourselves up about not being disciplined. Oh, I should have done better. I could have done that better. Why can't I finish what I start? We really talked about the intricacies of things that really affect us. So I wanted to create a nice soft foundation, I guess, and start to help you identify the reason for your lack of discipline and to know that you're not alone, but also that it's not a beat up. There are things that have happened, right? There are things that have interfered. We've had a whole pandemic where inflation, deaths. Some of us are still trying to recover from loss. I don't think I went deep with that yesterday, but I definitely want to mention it today because loss is a serious thing and it affects us in ways that we don't know. I know that last year I lost my mother. And while I don't feel like I'm in grief or I'm in mourning, there are certain days when I'm doing things and I'm trying to get things together when I just miss my mom, right? I just miss my mother. And so sometimes those days I'm just soft with myself. I'm like, okay, today I want to miss mom, or for this hour I want to miss my mom. I I went to have a meeting with someone around the time the anniversary of my mother's death, which was in October. I went to have a meeting with somebody and I started talking about whatever we were talking about, and suddenly tears just came because I missed my mom. And I just want to say that even if it's not death, it could be loss of relationship, it could be loss of finances, it could be loss of housing, loss of any sort can put you into a grieving process that will affect your discipline. I don't know why this is coming up today, but it must need to be said. There are legitimate things that affect our ability to be focused, that affect our ability to look at things and move in that direction in a disciplined manner. So I want to give a definition of discipline today because we're going to go deeper into it tomorrow. But there's a couple things I want to say about discipline today. One thing is that discipline is not perfection. Sometimes we see people who are performing in what seems to be a very successful, regimented way. And we think, oh, they have it perfect. They have it exactly the way it is. That's not true. Discipline is not equal to perfection. So if you consider discipline meaning that you're perfect at what you do, that all of your emails come out perfectly, that every person you talk to, every job you picked up, everything, every project you started turned out perfectly because you're disciplined, take it off the plate. It's not true. Discipline does not equal perfection. Okay? And also, I saw this and it really resonated with me and made me happy, right? Discipline is training, right? We're training ourselves to shift our behaviors or get to a certain end. We want to get a certain result from our work. What we need to realize is discipline is actually flexibility. To be disciplined, we need to be flexible. I'm only going to give you a sneak tidbit because I'm really going to go into it tomorrow. But we mistake habits and rituals for discipline. And habits and rituals are comfort zones. Discipline takes us out of those comfort zones. So we have to be flexible to move through that. Discipline is equal to flexibility. Right? So, with that being said, that's notes for tomorrow. We're going to dive in today. So, who identified some goals around your health and exercise? Just put a 1 for health and exercise. Health, well-being, anything to do with exercising and eating right. I'll say that. Health and exercise. 1s, because I want to see something. If you had goals around business, put a 2. If you have goals around spirituality, put a 3. That's studying the Bible, more prayer, more meditation, more time with God, right? If you had goals around water intake, some of us don't drink enough water and it shows. That's 5, right? And if you had goals around weight loss, I'm putting separate from food intake and health, exercise. It's 6. Okay. All right. You're good. Good. Thank you. More water. That's it. We all need some of everything, right? Now, when you look at this list and you see what it is that you have as your goal, you should be able to do. Now we should be able to break it down into smaller parts. We can break it down into smaller parts. But before we start breaking them down, we are clear. These are the things we want to focus on. I'm going to ask you if you, put them down, write them down. You got to write them down. You can't keep them in your head. That's why we're here. We got to write them down. Before we go in, I hope that you have chosen an accountability partner or someone to help you be accountable during this challenge. Now, some of us brought friends, and that's great. If that's your accountability partner, they're wonderful because they're going to be a part of this. They're going to know what the assignments are, and they're going to call you up and say, girl, did you do your homework? If you did not bring a friend, I encourage you to meet somebody new in the group. That's why it's important that you do your videos. Say hello in your videos. Introduce yourself in your video so that people will be able to see you and maybe reach out to help you or receive help from you. This is a part of our accountability and discipline. Okay? Getting ourselves, putting ourselves out there. Many of us have been hiding in the rabbit hole. And it's easy to not get stuff done because we're in hiding and nobody's calling us out on our stuff. I can't call everybody out, so I'm going to send some folks to call you out for you, right? Get your accountability partner in place. Do not hide during this challenge. It's only 7 days. Let's get it. Let's get them in there. So now that you've identified your goals, these are what we're going to focus on for the rest of the challenge. So today, what I want to start with and ask you is, why was it your goal in the first place? What's your why? What was the reason that you chose to set this goal? So we're going to spend a little time here. So you had goals. If you had goals about your weight, why did you choose weight as one of your goals? Is it because you have suddenly gained weight and you need to attend to it? Have you been to the doctor and the doctor said, hey, your health is at risk, you need to lose it? Have you struggled with weight your whole life and it's just been this looming cloud that every year since you were a teenager, you've been trying to get rid of this weight that's holding onto your head, not even realizing that the weight that you need to release is not actually from your body? Why did you choose your goal? Why did you choose a goal in study and prayer? Have you been feeling a pull to become closer to God? Has God been asking you to do some assignments? Have you been feeling like, I need a little something extra? I need some motivation. I need some comfort. I need to feel closer. But yet you still haven't picked up your word, right? You haven't picked up the Bible. Or you haven't decided to add a little more prayer. Or maybe you haven't prayed because you don't know how. But it's there, right? Do you think somebody else has told you that you don't pray enough? You're not seeing fruit. And so someone told you, oh, you just don't pray enough, or you don't pray more. I'm being very intentional about the things I'm saying because they make a difference in our understanding. They make a difference in our perception of the goals and the disciplines that we're trying to achieve. Because if you don't know why you even chose this as a goal, then you're going to continue struggling. You decided that you're not going to eat meat anymore. Why? Because somebody told you that you have gluten allergies and you know it's better without meat. Why? What is your why for the disciplines that you're trying to incorporate? Because if you're even an inkling, an iota of the goal that you set, of the behavior that you're seeking to change is because somebody else has influenced it, you will always struggle. You'll always struggle. And I'm not saying that people can't suggest things to you, right? Like sometimes we learn things. So for me, I'm constantly learning. And when I say I want to learn A, then somebody might come and say, hey, you know, the best way to learn A or a way to help you learn that is to do A, B, and C. And then I say, okay, that makes sense. Let me implement B and C so that I can learn A better. That is a good discipline influence, right? That's a good outside influence because they've given me a suggestion to help me reach my original goal, right? But if somebody comes along and says, Tiffany, you know, you'd be so much better if you knew A. I never thought about A. I don't care about A. I didn't want A, but because somebody else said it'd be best for me, then I decided to pick A up without any intention, any understanding, any true meaning. And now I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs and struggling with learning A, when in actuality, A isn't what I, Tiffany, need to tackle. Somebody else just said I'd be good with it. How many of you have ever picked up something, done something, went somewhere, participated in something because somebody said, hey, I think this would be good for you. I think this would look good on you. I think they would be good to you. Put a one in the chat. I'm not downgrading or downplaying the need for external influences. I'm just saying we got to be really clear about what they're doing and what role they're playing in our life and why we're doing the things we're doing, why they're stimulating us, inspiring us, motivating us, pushing us to do it. What made you put these goals that you've listed on your plate? Is it because everybody else in your field does it, or everybody else in your field does it that way? Are you afraid of being rejected if you don't perform it like everybody else? Social media is the most perfect example of this that I can think of. I was looking at the videos in the group, and I saw a lot of us have businesses, or we're aspiring entrepreneurs. We have ministries. We have all these things, right? And we know we live in a world of social media. We can't escape it, right? We have to. It's a necessary evil. Many of us have been told, well, in order for you to be viable, in order for you to be successful, you got to have 1 million followers. So then we jump onto social media and we start trying to get 1 million followers. Oh, they said that if I get 1 million followers, that I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be successful. We did this because somebody else told us, but we did not investigate for ourselves. Now we're out here trying to get 1 million followers, and we only got 100 after 2 years. And we're beating ourselves up. We're feeling stressed out. We're feeling less than, because I know I have a good product. Why aren't people buying from me? What is it? Maybe my stuff just is terrible. When in actuality, your goal shouldn't have been 1 million people. Your goal should have been 20 good people that buy from you, because those 20 good people that buy from you will change your life. You don't even know who your target is. You were just told that you were supposed to do something, and so you did it because other people did it and they were successful at it. But they didn't tell you that they've been buying followers. They didn't tell you that they've been paying for likes. They didn't tell you that their product sucks and nobody's buying their products. They have 1 million followers, but nobody's buying. We have to get clear. And I know I repeat myself a lot in certain things, but that's because they're important. They're important things. So you will always hear me mention clarity. We got to be clear about what the heck we're doing, what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to do it for. So when you look at these goals that you wrote down last night, look at each one of them and question, why did I put this on my plate? Why? And as you're evaluating and looking at them, you're going to start to figure out what action did you actually take to reach these goals? Because today we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the why of your goal and the challenge of your goal. So you're looking at the goals that you have, and just say that the challenge, that what you started on there is not finished. I want you to get clear about what challenged your goal. What stopped you? And be honest. What was the distraction that kept you from finishing it? I want you to think about it. Did you get fed up? Like, did you try and you got frustrated and you're like, I keep trying and this doesn't work. I'm going to just put it over here. I know that happens to me. It happens to me with technology, landing pages, web pages, pay systems, emails, email funnels, all that stuff. I hate it. It frustrates me to tears. And sometimes I just want to throw the computer. So I avoid it at all costs. At all cost, I avoid it. I will not lie to you. I avoid it. Right? Did you get disappointed? We talked about this a little yesterday. Did you do something and then it was just underwhelming? You put your heart and your soul into this thing, you completed it, and now two people showed up, right? I'm going to tell you guys a secret about that. So, a long time ago, when I was running groups, because I've done groups and social media for a long time. There was times I actually used to have a daily show on social media. And I remember I would have a group like this and I would come in and I would talk. I would talk to people and nobody would say anything. But yet, people would message me and tell me, Tiffany, oh my goodness, I love your messages. Or they would say nothing at all. And then when I shut up, then all of a sudden I got all these messages, Tiffany, I watched you every day. When are you coming back? I miss you being on. And I was like, well, why didn't you say something when I was in there talking about hello, hello, hello? Anyone? I had to learn that while I speak, people have to digest what I say. And everybody is not going to comment, but we don't know who's watching. So we still have to talk like we're talking to 1,000 people in front of us. And in this social media driven age that's done on likes and shares, we feel like we're not making an impact or people aren't seeing us because we're not getting the likes and shares. And then we get deflated and then we sit down and we stop. So I had to learn, you don't know who's watching you. Do it anyway. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. I was surprised. My videos, some of my videos only have like 20 views, right? I'm just like, I trust that the right person, the right people who are supposed to see them will see them. So I don't do anything for the likes. I don't do it for the shares. Most of the time, that's not even in my mind. I put it out because it needs to be done. So that may be for someone who feels like I can't put it out because nobody likes it. You don't know who likes it. It's not about the number of people that are paying attention. It's about the 1, 2, 3 people who are supposed to get your message and will have an impact on the work. Your work will have an impact on them, therefore perpetuating them to have an impact someplace else. Right? I like that comment. I'm a quiet person. I have to absorb things. I know I as my friend Nikki would say, I walk heavy. I walk heavy. So even though I speak in very simplistic terms, the depth of the things that I say, I go deep. So people need to process it. So we have to understand our intentions and our whys and the goals that we set. This is why setting goals and knowing why we set the goal is important. Because imagine if I was worried about likes and follows and shares, I wouldn't have done this challenge. Because let me tell you, on Saturday, there was only 30 people in this group. On Thursday, there were 20. I just trust that who's supposed to show up will, and I'm going to give 100% of myself, 100,000% of myself to whoever's there. So don't allow a false idea of success ruin your focus and discipline on the goal that you have or the behavior that you need to adjust. All right. And the next, it's not a point, but it's a part of our conversation, is that many of us like to self-soothe. We're not making it through our challenges. We're not getting through the disciplines because we're self-soothing. We are self-soothing. What does that mean? Candy Crush, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, any other game you want to play on your phone. Anything to keep us from focusing on the painful decisions, on the uncomfortable decisions, on the things that we feel cause us to just feel bad. Sometimes working through stuff will make you feel bad. I'm going to keep going back to building this thing, for this discipline challenge. I was building a landing page, right? I felt horrible. I felt inadequate. I felt like, why after 20 years can I not get this done? And why don't I have the help to get it done? Like, I was just, right? 20 years. I've just never mastered it. It's just never come easy for me. And so while I was able to do it, y'all applaud for me, because I disciplined myself and stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning and got it done. It made me feel away. I was stressed. I was anxious. It took me 10, 15 hours to get done with somebody with better knowledge and better grip of it than me could have gotten done in an hour. By the end of the day, I felt like I was so emotionally fraught. I felt like I had been hit by a Mack truck. So even though I have tools, right? Even though I have understanding, even though you have tools, and even though you have understanding, it will not preclude you from having an emotion or a feeling about it. The tools will help you get through it quicker. Tools help you get through it quicker. They don't necessarily help you avoid, right? I love it. Outsource it to keep my edges. That's the next time. It's definitely outsource. But sometimes we don't have the resources, we don't have the finances, we don't have the information. And for me and my creatives, I'm a creative, right? So I sometimes have to walk through it for it to come up. Like, I can't just go, hey, you do this for me, please, and build it. Because while somebody else can build something that I'm asking for, they may give it back to me and it's not the vision. It's not the goal. It's not what I had in mind. So these are challenges we all face. I'm just confessing mine in the hopes that they'll resonate with you and you will get the understanding about it. You need to identify what you are using to self-soothe in your life. Every time you have to sit down to write that email, what pops up? I'm a writer. I have a couple books I need to finish, right? Writing it's not dogmatic, it's not ritualistic, it's writing is writing, right? And sometimes I'll go, oh, today I'm going to sit down for an hour and I'm going to write. And then all of a sudden I'll see a notification come across my phone, and then I'll pick up the notification, and then I'll say, oh, okay, I need to answer that. And then I end up on a website looking for dog food when I was supposed to be sitting down writing. I was supposed to be sitting down writing, but because I have to be in a frame of mind, I have to be quiet, I have to sit and tap my pencil a little bit and think, right? Now I've self-soothed by distracting myself, taking myself someplace else. Oh, because this is fun. This is fun looking at the messages. Oh, and this is fun looking at hair products. And oh my goodness, that's the funniest little TikTok video. And oh my goodness, let me send a quick message to my friend. Oh, let me call somebody real quick and talk to them and make sure they're okay. Instead of sitting down doing my work. Because it's not fun. Right? It's not fun. The idea of this conversation is just to help you get your mind settled into the things that you do that keep you from your discipline, the things that you put in place to distract you from being functioning, right? And all these are real things, but they have remedies. They have remedies. And keep remembering, discipline is not perfection. So while you're going to have some new tools and some new ways and objectives of looking at things, you're still going to have those days where you're like, I just don't feel like doing it. And my suggestion to you is don't do it then. Give yourself that break that day. Now, don't take 10 days break in a row, but give yourself a break that day. Relax. Don't do it. Don't force yourself. Forcing yourself isn't necessarily discipline. Now, discipline does require you to go beyond, to stretch, right? To stretch beyond what is normal. But it doesn't mean that you have to be, miserable. You may be miserable to start, depends on what it is. First 2 weeks of exercise, I'm going to cry and complain. That's me. I'm going to cry. I'm going to complain. I'm going to tell you I don't want to do it. And then after the soreness and the aches and the pains of 2 weeks, then I get into the ritual. I get into the discipline of it, and I can do it, and I can move. And then it feels better. Force is not discipline. And here's the other side of that, those distractions. Some distractions are in place because you needed to shift what you were looking at. So on the opposite side of, I just distracted myself because I didn't feel like doing it. Sometimes we're moving in a direction and then we're like, why do I keep having opposition? Why does this keep not working? Why is this not coming through? It went through the last time. Why are the people not showing up? Why is the money not here? Why is all this stuff? Because it's time for you to shift. And we need to learn how to pivot. Because some of us have expired goals that we're trying to fulfill. That goal don't even work no more. It's not even viable. Are the goals that you have on your plate viable? So our first point is edit your goal. After you figure out the reason that you have your goal, you need to edit it, right? You need to decide whether you need to shift the timeline, whether you need to implement it in phases so that you can do it. Because some things we're like, I got to write a book, but books come in phases, right? So what was my first phase? My first phase is I'm a physical writer. So I literally handwrite everything. But the first phase was deciding what the topic was and how I was going to approach the book. I didn't just jump out saying it's going to be a bestseller and it's going to be whatever. Okay, this is the topic. This is how I'm going to approach it. I decided it was going to be letters to leaders, and I decided to write each chapter of my book like a letter, an intimate letter to a leader. Then I had to decide how many chapters I was going to do. And then I had to decide different things, right? So there's phases. Decide whether you need to implement phases into the process, into the behavior, into the discipline that you're trying to implement. Because if you're looking at a big chunk, if you're looking at a big chunk of things, then it might be possible that you're not going to finish it because it looks too big. I think it's like a dad joke, but there's a joke that says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Edit your goal and decide whether or not you need to implement a phase plan. And then maybe you need to revise the destination. If you started here and you said, I need to lose 100 pounds, maybe the destination, the phase, and the new destination is, I need to lose 10 pounds first in this period of time. And then every 3 months, I'm going to work on 10 pounds. I'm not going to work on 100 pounds in 1 month. I'm going to do 10 pounds in 3 months. Now, for some people, that'll be like, oh, that's not enough. But they're not you. You have to be specific about your needs for your goals. Now, we've talked about why you've chosen these goals, but we got to get specific about how you need to accomplish what you're doing. So evaluate, edit, decide if you need to edit your goal. And one of the reasons that you may need to edit your goal, going back to why you even started in the first place, is what voice told you? What voice did you hear when you chose the goal? What voice did you hear when you didn't finish or complete the goal? Oh, if you were good, you would be able to get this done. Was that your mama? Was that your sister that you're in competition with? Was that the brother who always thinks that you can't get anything done? Was that the grandmother who's always putting the weight of the generations and the legacy of the family on your back? Was it the person who is jealous of you secretly and is always trying to sabotage your stuff, but they always want to be next to you so they can whisper in your ear and tell you why it can't be done? Or they're fearful and they want to give you all their fears. Figure out the voice that made this goal a choice, and you're going to get real clear about some of the issues with your personal discipline. Is that helping you? Like, I have some more stuff to say, but I just want to know, I've been talking a lot and it's been quiet. I know people are digesting this. So really, really quickly, if you could just put in the chat something that stood out to you for what I just said in the past, something that's like really sticking for you. Now y'all can't be just chewing on it, right? Don't leave. Don't leave because I asked you to comment. So I see force is not discipline. I see someone said to take it in phases. Okay, we got struggles with execution. Discipline is not perfection. That's one of my favorite. Discipline is not perfection. And how about this one? Done is not finished. To have something done doesn't necessarily mean it's finished. Oh, habits are comfort zones. Yes, habits are comfort zones. Habits are comfort zones. Whether they're bad habits that give us bad results, habits are comfort zones. So if we start to take let me start at the top. So we figure out what the goal is. We figure out why we even set the goal in the first place. And we figure out what voice we heard that made us choose that goal. And then what verse we heard when we were challenged with the goal. Was it a goal that said you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you never finish anything? Was it the goal that said, oh my goodness, this will never work, nobody will ever buy it? Was it the voice that said, oh my goodness, you need to do more because everybody in the family does more? Or you need to do this because our legacy is depending on you? Pressure, pressure, pressure. Pay attention. You need to know this because this is going to affect not just this exercise that we're doing today, but this is going to affect your goal setting and the way you look and choose your goals from here on out. If you continue to implement this framework when choosing what you're doing, it will change the way you set your goals and the way you look at being disciplined. Struggles, discipline, being comfortable. Yep, being afraid of change. People don't like change. The next thing that you need to do, or I suggest, right, because you don't have to do anything, is decide whether you need to exchange this goal. After you've evaluated all those things, right? Do you need to exchange this goal? Is it still valid? Does it still make sense? You started the year off wanting to get a 7-seater van to drive people to church. And in between now and then, the church closed, but you still want the van. And you're struggling out here beating yourself up. I didn't get to my van in the time that I thought, but the church closed. You don't even need it for that anymore. Is it still viable? Is the goal you set going to make the same impact? Is it still worth the challenge, right? Does it make sense? Do you need to turn it in and pick another one? Maybe you need to exchange this goal for some rest. What if all you needed to do was get some rest? Because you got a whole bunch of goals and your discipline is falling apart because now it's ritualistic, it's habitual, and you're doing it like you got OCD. And nothing against anybody who has OCD. I have friends that have it. Right? I don't, but I know people who do. And I understand the real mental challenge of feeling like you have to do something or just everything else is going to come apart. But things and these kind of behaviors start because we're going, seeking a satisfaction, not knowing we're not going to get the satisfaction because we have the wrong focus, we have the wrong intention, and we got the wrong goal. Been resting a year. Listen, you're part of my family because I was resting for 2, almost 3. And literally, God said, I've used up all my sick days, my PTO, and all my vacation days. So I'm back to work. I'm here. But I needed the rest because I was seeking a goal. I was doing it. I was moving an assignment, right? He told me to start a nonprofit. I did it. He told me to go to Africa. I did it. He told me to move here. I did it. I was doing, but I still needed to get some character things addressed. I still needed my faith to be built up. I still needed my prayer life to increase. All these things were falling to the side while I was real focused and disciplined about achieving these assignments, right? Even though they were God-given divine assignments, sometimes we can get too caught up in the doing of what it is that we've been assigned to. And then we think it's discipline and it's not. And so we have to do for ourselves as well, right? A discipline, self-care is a discipline. Self-care is a discipline, and a lot of us don't take care of ourselves. We are habitually and ritualistically taking care of other people, taking another assignment, doing one more thing, helping one more person, saving one more baby, hugging one more tree. But we don't have the discipline to drink an extra glass of water for ourselves. We don't have the discipline to carry our behind to sleep. We don't have the discipline to believe and hear the instructions that say, go lay down, go lay down, go to sleep, go sleep, right? Exactly, Nikki, being a caregiver to everybody but us. Self-care is a discipline. If we aren't moving from a place of guidance, but of our own merits. Newsflash, a lot of times, most of the time, we are moving from our own merits. And it's not even intentional. It's not even intentional, right? This is the conversation that I personally had with God about me. I'm obedient, right? And I'm a doer. I'm a firstborn child, so I'm used to being the person with the answer. I'm used to, if it's going to be done, I got to do it, like, right? So I'm going to go out. You give me instructions. This is what we need to do. We need to build a house. Okay, I'm going to go buy bricks. I'm going to get some mortar. I'm going to hire some people. I'm going to do the things. And so God told me, you know what? You're a doer and you're obedient and it's very good, but it's still mine. And just because I told you to do it didn't mean I wanted you to do it all. And remember, it's not on your back. It's by my hand. It's not all for you to figure out. It's for you to move, because I need a human body to move and get this thing done. But I did not make it your burden. You made it your burden. And we learn. We learn the more we walk, the more we're obedient, the more we pray, the more we listen and commune and get information and answers based on what our assignment is, not what Sister Susie said our assignment is, and what Sister Joan said, it should look like. Well, the other ones do like this, so you're out of line because you're not doing it like them. No, that's not what that is. That's not what that is. That's not it. The last point for discovery is, if you don't have to edit it or you don't have to exchange it, it's time to execute. We got to execute. We can't talk about it. We got to be about it. We write the vision and make it plain, and we don't just close the book and put it on the shelf. We write the vision, we make it plain, we get the strategies, and we get the action, and we move. And if we're in alignment, we're divinely led, and we just keep going on the path. Nobody's perfect with it, but it's a continual practice, right? And we learn new things and new ways to execute. Sometimes execution is stillness because we get in the way. But we only know that by being faithful to our assignment and implementing these steps and knowing where we are, knowing why we're doing anything, knowing who we're serving in this. Then we know if we need to edit, if we need to exchange it, or if we need to execute it. If it's execution time, then go. Go. What's the first step? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. You can't take 1,000 steps if you don't take one. Does that make sense? Go. Let's say Nike say, just do it, right? Just do it. What? Just do it. So now, in the execution part, because I'm getting ready to wrap up, so we can have a closure for today. I'll be back on again later at 6 o'clock, right? But before we wrap up for today, we've identified the goals, right? Now we have a form, a strategy by which to categorize and prioritize what we have. We've decided, where they were, if it was in our mind, unfinished, needs work, all those things, right? Now, today, we decided, do we need to edit the goal? Do we need to execute it? Or do we need to exchange it? So we're getting strategy, right? Do you see the strategies coming together? I hope it is for you, coming together. And what we're going to move into tomorrow is what action needs to be taken. So I'm going to post 2 sheets today for you to look at, to write down your goals, to reevaluate them, to decide what needs to be done with them, edit, exchange, or execute. And today is going to be, this is the stuff that we're going to work on for the rest of the day, for the rest of the days. The stuff that you choose today, the way you organize it today is going to be our focal points for the remainder of the challenge. Right? So this is just a couple bonus questions, because we'll talk about it tomorrow too. In order to execute, you need to start to get an understanding of what resources you need, what challenges are facing you now that could possibly deter your outcome. It could be the same challenge that faced you at the beginning of the year, but you need to know your challenge. What could stand in your way of finishing this, right? And what do you have in your hands? So those are things we're going to discuss tomorrow. So you don't have to stress yourself about them today, but what do you have in your hands? Because chances are what you think you need, you already have. Yeah. So that is about all for today, folks. I am so excited about what I'm going to talk about tomorrow about discipline. I gave you some inklings in it today, but I'm going to dig down deeper because tomorrow we're going to be working on mindset. We're going to be talking about that thing that we need to address along the way to make our discipline do what it do, right? To get it done in December. So again, I'll be going live at 6 p.m. It's the more casual Fountainside chat for people who maybe didn't make it to the noon and want to be on live, or getting off work. It's kind of a wrap up, a little after talk, and the sheets will be on after I get off the broadcast. Is there anything else? Oh, if you happen to not be able to get into the group, this is also on YouTube Live. So you can find this on YouTube Live. So you still have time to share the challenge, share the group. I encourage you to do so if you have friends or anybody that would like to get in on this, because this is really going to be good stuff to help change and transform minds. And they can also join YouTube Live. I think I got anything. I think I got everything. Nikki, if there's anything I forgot, you can let me know. Being overwhelmed can definitely paralyze you. I see a comment. Any questions or comments that you have right now, I'll still answer. I'm just officially done with the teaching part, but I'll stay on to talk. That's not a problem. Being overwhelmed will paralyze you. And a lot of times we're overwhelmed because we just don't know where to start. We just feel like we have a whole bunch of stuff in our hands. we just feel like there's a whole bunch on our plate. We're juggling a whole bunch of balls. And then guess what? Somebody comes in and throws another ball into our mix. Now we're juggling faster, we're juggling harder, we're juggling more. And we don't have a way out because we don't have somebody with us, one, to help us be accountable, to help us prioritize, to help us put things in order. So we need to prioritize the things that we have. But if everything just feels like it's got to be done, we haven't written down and we haven't said, oh, you need to be done today versus someday, because those two get two different attentions. I do consultations. Message me. I can't see who you are, who's asking to talk offline. You can message me on Facebook and then we'll go from there. We have a lot of our life that's out of balance, and we don't know how to implement things that bring us into balance. So again, the goal for this 7 days is to help give you tools to help you implement balance into your discipline so that you can maintain it and have desired results. Because here's the fact: nothing in this world gets done without discipline. Even an inky teensy weensy little bit, it takes discipline to finish anything, for anything to come to complete. Everything is about discipline. So we need to learn to prioritize it and implement it to bring balance into our lives so that we are not overwhelmed, and that even when we get to those spaces, we have a way out. We have a means to be relieved, because everybody wants relief. Nobody likes suffering. I know I don't. So if that is it, everyone, we are coming to the close of day 2. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Please go do your videos. Say hello. It doesn't have to be long. Who you are, why you're here, where you are, and be accountable. Make a space for yourself to be accountable, to be seen. Don't hide. Be seen. This is a place for you to be seen. All right. That is the end of day 2. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.